The Trump administration appears to be backing off of a nearly $1.8 billion fund that aimed to compensate people that the president says were mistreated by the previous Department of Justice. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Just a couple of weeks after announcing a new fund aimed at compensating people the president says were unfairly targeted for prosecution by past administrations.
These were people that were weaponized and really treated brutally by a system that was so corrupt, with corrupt people running it.
Now the Justice Department says it will comply with a judge's order to temporarily block the fund. Democrats want to make the move permanent.
This week, Senate Democrats will push legislation to ban this slush fund and ensure no president can ever do this again. Trump's word is nowhere near enough.
The announcement by the administration came shortly after President Trump met with House Speaker Mike Johnson. The fund faced rare GOP pushback on Capitol Hill. Some Republicans criticized the White House for not ruling out January 6 defendants receiving compensation, threatening to derail the GOP reconciliation bill to fund ICE and Border Patrol.
Republicans are looking at November and worried about being badly defeated, and so they don't want Trump doing anything beyond what he's already done that's going to make their situation even harder.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says with the fund tabled, they can now move forward with votes as soon as this week. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.